All right, we are on our final video covering shapes, which you have been deep into these past lessons as we wrap up into Module 5. And the main concepts about our shapes that we've been learning is really finding those defining attributes and then using those defining attributes to most specifically name different shapes. So then I just want to go through this graphic organizer that you've been using as a resource and been filling out to confirm some understandings about these shapes that we've been discussing. So we know that different shapes can be named different things, but first of all, we want to go through this flowchart to help us find that most specific name for that shape. So if I look at the following shape like this, and I'm going to label it as, so I have this following shape. I see that two sides are congruent, and then it has this long point. I don't see any right angles or anything, but I do see that there are four sides. So already I know I can start at quadrilateral. When I look over, yes, it's a quadrilateral. There are four straight sides. Are there four right angles? I'm going to say no. I don't see any of this box showing that there's a right angle, so there's no right angles. There's two sets of opposite angles the same size. This angle does not look equal to that angle, so I'm going to say no. At least one pair of parallel sides. If this line keeps going, this line, nope, that's going to hit each other, those are going to hit each other. There are no parallel sides, so I'm going to answer, oops, sorry, you can't see. Parallel sides, no. Two pairs of equal sides that are adjacent. Well, these look equal, and so then that means that it is a kite. So that is how this flowchart helps you. It helps you find the most accurate name for the shape that you're looking at. We know that there are two pairs of equal sides that are adjacent. Those could also mean that it could be a square, but there's some other things that also have to be in place for it to be a square or a rhombus and other attributes. So it's really how this flowchart works. It helps us find the most specific name, but not necessarily the only name for that shape. All right, so let's go through it a little bit more. I'm going to just zoom in. There we go. So I just went over kind of how that flowchart works, and now we're just going to go through it step by step to really understand what it means by each shape that we cover. So here and I'm going to draw, actually I'm going to draw the shape as we go. So we have our top, a quadrilateral. So that means, and it says, yes, four right angles, four sides of equal length. So that means I have this, right angle, right angle, right angle, and I'm going to show that there are four sides of equal length as well to show that this is congruent to this, to congruent to this, to congruent to that. So that means, so I have that there's right angles. You can see that there are four of them. And then this shows that there are four sides equal in length. Since it has all the same tick mark like that, that means that this side is the same as this side is the same as this side is the same as this is equal to this is equal to that, boop, 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 boop. This is all the same. So that means it is a, ta-da, a square, which I know a lot are familiar with. All right, let's go to the next one. So it has four right angles, but and then four sides of equal length. Nope. So four right angles, but the sides are not the equal length. So let's draw that. So I have four right angles, but this is equal to this is equal to that. So you'll see that I have these two sides equal, but these two sides are different lengths. So I showed that with a different tick mark. And that means it is a rectangle. All right, next one. So now we know it's always going to be a quadrilateral. There's going to be four straight sides. Are there four right angles? No. Two sets of opposite angles the same size. So that means that across from each other they are the same size, and then four sides in equal length. So if we think about it, it's going to look something like this, or like this. So this is equal to this. This angle is equal to this angle, and all the sides are the same length. Oops, sorry, you can't see my little red shapes. So if you look at these red shapes, there we go. I have 4 sides that are equal. Opposite angles are equivalent. I also have it on this shape too, which looks very similar to our square. While that can be named a square, the square has that specific right angles. So we don't necessarily want to call it a square because the only thing that's really important is that the opposite angles are equal, not necessarily that they are 90 degrees. So that means that we would call this shape the rhombus. That gives a specific name to the fact that they have opposite angles the same size, but it doesn't narrow it down to having to be 90 degrees like a square. Now, if there are 4 sides, we'll back up. The 4 sides are not always equal, but the opposite angles are the same size, so that helps with it. We can also think about the parallel lines to help us. The 2 sets of opposite angles the same size really means that we need to have 2 pairs of parallel sides, because those are what create those equivalent angles. So then this shape will look like this. So this angle will be equal to this angle, and this angle will be equal to this angle. Oh my gosh, there you go. So you can see all of them. And remember, if I label this A, B, C, D, angles A plus angle B plus angle C plus angle D will equal 360 degrees. Just as a side note. But so back to our chart. 2 sets of opposite angles the same size. Doop doop. Yep. 4 sides of equal length. Nope, we don't see any congruency signs, so we don't know which sides are equal in the measurements. So that makes it a parallelogram. All right, we're on our last step, where our quadrilateral has 4 right angles. Nope. 2 opposite sides of the angle the same size. Nope. So that means there's not 2 pairs of parallel sides. Now there's just at least 1 pair of parallel sides. And basically the big distinguishing factor between these 2 shapes are there's at least 1 pair of parallel sides, the pairs of sides, 2 pairs of equal sides that are adjacent, and that creates our lovely second to last shape. So that means we have at least 1 pair of parallel sides, and we don't. So that means that these lines are going to intersect and they will never be parallel. But we have 2 sides that are adjacent, so that means they're next to each other. So this is next to this, so that's congruent. And this one's next to this, and these are congruent. And also, we don't have 4 sides the same length. We could, but we don't always have that for this shape, which is a kite. So there's no parallel lines. Well, there could be, but the most important attribute are these adjacent equal sides. If we do have that pair of parallel sides, and we just need 1 pair of parallel sides to create our trusty shape, the trapezoid. So we just need to have that 1 pair of parallel sides. Doesn't matter about any other side, just as long as we have that. I hope that was helpful going through this chart. So basically, this is the chart that tells you that last attribute that is most important for that shape that it must have in order to be considered that shape. Like for the kite, it has to have 2 pairs of sides that are equal and adjacent. For a rhombus, it just has to have at least 1 pair of parallel sides, which can be a lot of different shapes. For our rhombus, it needs to have 2 opposite angles the same size and 4 sides equal length. So it needs to have all of that. Whereas even more specific, it has, in order to be a square, it has to have 4 right angles and 4 sides equal length. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful as you head into some true and false questions about shapes. Really be a extra observer and investigator and questioner as you answer those questions, taking careful time and consideration. Use this chart to help you. Go back and watch videos about the hierarchy of shapes, because it can be quite confusing and so many shapes can be named in different ways. All right, and have a great time.